Adam Kaplan is our NFL insider on SportsGrid, and thank God on Coast to Coast. You can follow him for free on X at Kaplan NFL, well over 2 decades and a half covering the National Football League, and he gives us the skinny on everything all year long. Again, thank God for that. How about the money that JJ got in Minneapolis?
My man, this is real money here with Justin Jefferson. It's a legit $35 million a year. I had a look at the deal earlier today, and they've been talking, Scott, for over a year. And as I told you last week, it'll get done before training camp, probably well before it. Didn't know it was going to get done quite this quickly. But the great thing is both sides had urgency. The Vikings finally said, you know what, we have to do this deal. We got to do right by our player. Kwesi Adolfo-Menso, their GM, made this clear earlier this year. They're going to get this deal done. Despite all the rumors about potential trade, none of it was true. The bottom line is they were going to extend his deal one way or the other. And I got to give them credit. This is not their typical structure that they do. They're guaranteeing $70 million in the first 2 years. The guarantee is really high. Justin Jefferson, Scott, is now resetting the wide receiver market. It's really an incredible deal. Got to give his agents credit. And also from the Vikings standpoint, Rob Brzezinski, their contract negotiator, he does a great job, found a way to get this deal done. This was not an easy deal. But what happens now, this helps the other receivers who are unsigned. We talked about this last week, and we can update it. Now we know it's $35 million is top of the market. Beats A.J. Brown's deal at $32 million a season by $3 million a year. Now if you're a guy like CeeDee Lamb, the Cowboys, who unfortunately continue to wait, they continue to wait to get deals done. It costs them more and more and more. You can go back 30 years. And the Emmitt Smith deal where they didn't get the deal done, they had to back up the Brinks truck to get that deal done. They've done it time and time again. They've waited. So the Cowboys, now they know the number. If you're CeeDee Lamb, his numbers are similar, not quite as good as Justin Jefferson's, but they're similar. That deal will become between 33 and 35 million. That was the number that a lot of people around the league pegged for Jefferson. He got the top. He got 35 million. Lamb will try to get closer to 35 million. It will be hard. And don't forget, the Cowboys want to get Micah Parsons' deal done, Scott. That's another priority for them. They unfortunately are not getting Dak Prescott's deal done. And obviously, if you're Jamar Chase, who's a legit number one receiver, an absolute stud, you want to not only get $35 million a year, you want to try to beat that. And then the other guys we talked about last week, Brandon Ayuk, he won't get close to $35 million, but $30 million a season is very, very fair. And then you've got T. Higgins, who's on that lower tier. He's around the Jalen Waddle deal, who got $28.25 million per season. And the Bengals are not close on that one. So these clubs, Scott, that continue to wait to get deals done, they're going to have to pay up even more, they thought, by not getting them done earlier.
Well, so let's talk about the Bengals for a second. How are they going to pay Chase, and what are his numbers in concert with JJ's in Minneapolis, and how in God's name can they pay him 34 to 35 million per and then pay Higgins? Now, they've talked about dealing Higgins for 6 months to 9 months. And then they still haven't done it. Are you kidding me that Brown's going to pay both of them that kind of money? I just don't see it. It's going to be Chase, and how are they going to deal with Higgins other than to deal him?
No, in fact, I've been on record saying that for the whole offseason. Chase should get done by training camp. Now they see, this is the way agents look at it. Everyone in the agent business who's got receivers knew that Justin Jefferson was the top of the market. They wanted to see where that number went. Now you got $35 million. If you're Jamar Chase, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for $35 million. He's been an absolutely phenomenal football player. He's a franchise-building wide receiver. Higgins is a number two, is known for months he's not getting the kind of deal that he wants. Plus, he's coming off a season where he's hurt a lot. He doesn't have a lot of leverage here. Look, he asked for a trade. The Bengals have made it clear they don't want to trade him. They did draft Jermaine Burton, a third round, a receiver out of Alabama, but he's not going to be ready to start right now. They want to make another deep playoff run, and to do it, they want Higgins there, and then they can let him walk and then get a compensatory pick. They're big on doing that, by the way. I mentioned this last week. They let Jesse Bates walk. They got a compensatory pick. This is the way this team, the organization thinks. Now, you talk about the cash. They know what it's going to take to get Chase done. It wasn't a secret. It's just a little bit more than they probably thought. Now they have the numbers. Now they can get that deal done, and good for the Vikings and Jefferson's representatives of WMA to get this deal done. This was not an easy deal to get done because, again, it took over a year. That's how tough this deal's took to get done, but it got done. And now you know what it looks like, $35 million a year.
Okay, so go back to the Cowboys for me and explain to me how they can pay Lamb, Parsons, and Dak Prescott, and then, frankly, anyone else. Now, I know they have the money. I know what the franchise is worth, but that's neither here nor there when you're dealing with these kinds of numbers and what they can do for the season with the rest of their roster.
So what they'll do is an extension with CeeDee Lamb. They're going to do what happens at just about every veteran extension. You take the big salary that the players do this season, you reduce it to the minimum salary, then you give them a major signing bonus, just like, for instance, the Vikings did in this deal. Then you raise the salaries year by year by year, but you're going to lower this year's cap number because the Cowboys are one of the few teams, Scott, that have a cap problem. That's why Dak's deal's not gotten done. They'll do the same with Micah Parsons if they can get that deal done. That's a priority for them. They've already budgeted it. I'd be very surprised if that deal's not done by late July, by the time they report to training camp in Oxnard, California. But Dak, look, the thing is, if you're Todd France, Dak Prescott's agent, why would you take less than $57 million a year? Like that, by them waiting, you've got the leverage here. And Dak, you could say whatever you want about Dak Prescott. The guy's still a very, very good quarterback, had an excellent season, did end like the club wanted for anyone on offense or defense as they played against the Packers. But the bottom line is, when you're the Cowboys, once again, they've waited. It's going to cost them way more than they thought it would or should have. But this is what they have to do. And again, the way you do veteran contracts is you lower the salaries in year one, and then you increase going forward.
All right, let's talk about the horrific story about the passing of Hall of Famer Larry Allen of the Cowboys while he was on vacation with his family in Mexico. Do you know any details at all of how he died suddenly? Like, did he have a heart attack? What was it? Does anyone know?
Yeah, we don't know yet. The family's not released that information yet, and the Cowboys in their statement, which they sent me this morning, did not say that. It just said he died suddenly. But 52 years old. Boy, this is. I don't know if you saw Emmett Smith's incredible video. I mean, he's obviously heartbroken, as a lot of people, because in life, as a lot of us know, when friends of ours pass and we don't get to say goodbye, it's tough, man. It's really tough, totally unexpected. But I remember Larry Allen as this guy from a small school, right, at Sonoma State. Nobody likes Sonoma State. Where is this school? No one ever heard of it. A Division II school in California. And he wound up being a Hall of Famer, 11-time All-Pro. One of the all-time great stories from a small school. And you got to give Lake Gil Brandt credit and everyone in scouting from many, many years ago who helped the Cowboys before Gil left the Cowboys in the late 80s. And everyone with Jimmy Johnson and everyone who scouted that Larry Allen, just a phenomenal job. It was a second-round pick, by the way, not even a first-round pick in 1994, who, by the way, was not just a guard, though he was known mostly to play guard. He also played tackle.
Yeah.
He actually played tackle and ended his career with the Niners. Yeah.
Yeah, he played multiple positions on the front. Yep. He was crazy. And I did a show, believe it or not, on Fox Sports with Gil Brandt for at least a year or two. I love Gil Brandt. What a great guy. What a great football mind. What is the deal with Waller of the Giants? I hear you're reporting that he's going to retire.
Barring something highly unforeseen, I put this out on SiriusXM a couple months ago. Unless he changes his mind, he's going to retire. As I talked to someone close to him a couple times, that he's got some other business interests. He's had a great career. He turns 32 this fall. And you remember, Scott, he's overcome an incredible amount of personal issues and has been able to revive his career. And barring something highly unforeseen, he's expected to retire.